Hello everyone, I'm Tofu and we're on Gaol-Town today, so we're going to be doing a bit of world building for our crime island. So, let's jump into it. So, some of you that have watched previous videos of mine will recognise the fact that this is very different from where I left it off. I did do a fancy, elegant entrance build where Mira and Beardo would both live, our hero and mare character respectively. It just felt like I couldn't include it into the world. It was really obviously large, and so that kind of put a massive hindrance on me. It also, because it was walled off, it just felt like it was an area that you shouldn't really be in. I tried to avoid it, and I think that showed in my New Year's segment in one of my videos recently. And Beardo wasn't one of the characters, he was like the only character I didn't talk to for that entire video, and that's because he was in his house and I left this whole area alone. Anyway, as you can see by what I've done, I've made it a road section. I've done a little bit of elevation. This will be where Mira and Beardo actually live. I want this whole area to feel obviously urban. It's a bit run down. So we're going to have a road that mostly goes around the island. There's going to have tiles missing where weeds are popping up, or just various areas where tiles are missing so you can see the dirt underneath. The road is done by Pickles, by the way, absolutely fantastic creator, and they've done a few roads which are absolutely fantastic for any city or urban builds, and so yeah, I would highly recommend you go check this stuff out. Here's a small dilapidated building I've kind of made previously, so using the retro transport stops and the storefronts. I'd already done that previously, and to be honest I didn't want to rebuild it on screen because I thought that would just be a pain. But let's get into the building, shall we? So firstly I'm going to make this little area, and I want to basically make it seem like it is actually urban. So I'm going to place down a few of these tiles. So it's mostly going to be these tiles that I've used for the sidewalk or the pavement. I could do this by going into the kind of build mode, but I find this is just easier if I'm plonking down literally just 6 or 9 around me. So I find this quicker, I find it easier. I know people have left some comments saying that I should go into the build mode itself and do this. It's certainly more accurate, but I don't find it as quick. So I have done a little bit of planning regarding these builds. So I do have most of the items that I would like to actually place down. Some of them I'm going to have to go and retrieve and might have to change my mind during the build itself. But we'll see how that goes. Okay, so we've got that done. I'm going to put down just like 2 or 3 spaces here of a rust pattern. I've got like a rusty kind of iron flooring pattern. Again, I will show the creator on screen. And I'm just going to have that down underneath a couple of items. I just want it, again, making it seem like it's not really well kept. They've had to replace it with various bits and bobs, and they replaced it with some iron sheeting, which has then gone rusty over time. Alright, let's place some items. We've got some simple panels. They're all the same design, but I've gone with this beautiful white brick. Again, say it with me, creator will be up on screen, so if you'd like to check out any of the designs, feel free. So I want this kind of brick backdrop. Initially I was looking for a wall that then had graffiti on it. I just like the idea of, like, it is a crime island, so people would have gone around graffitiing the walls, but I couldn't find anything I liked. And not gonna lie, I'm just not good at the whole pixel art thing when it comes to making designs that look good. So instead of taking like 4 years to actually produce my own graffiti, I've just gone with a simple wall, and I will make it look kind of run down. At the same time, I didn't want this area to look too run down, because this bit up here is meant to be the fancy part in which Beardo and Mira live. So it's still meant to look nice. And I'm almost certain I've mentioned it before, but I tend to do these builds very early in the morning in game, just so that there's less characters walking around, less chance to be bothered, and less chance for them to sit in your way, because that's really irritating when, especially if you've got a single path or you're trying to do some waterscaping or landscaping, and they just sit there, right in your way. There you go, so there's our brick wall sorted, so let's jump on this now. That's the wrong button. Fabulous. Gonna go cardboard box. So like I said, these are all various items that I've collected previously, just because I knew roughly what I wanted to do. I'm just going to move this up one. I don't like everything being completely symmetrical when it comes to the tiles. Trash bags, I'm going to throw that on top of the cardboard box. Again, like I said, I want it kind of messy, like it's a bit run down, but not like over the top. So we can imagine that this garbage can is full maybe, which is why the trash has been left on the side. I want, again, I've said urban setting, so I'm going to have a few just bits of furniture that actually show some life. So the drinks machine, the snack machine. And naturally there should be a utility pole somewhere. There we go. I'm going to push that back a little bit. Okay, and then portable radio on top of the drinks machine and some decorative bottles. Again, looks like a little bit more trash. Cool. And we definitely should have some scattered papers somewhere along the design. Right next to the bin. Fabulous. Should do a little bit here, so I have got a few items. So, retro gas pump. I barely use this item, but I actually really do like the design of the gas pumps. It obviously fits really well for the... let's turn that off. Works really well with the rusted design, so obviously that's going to work perfectly for this little area. A sloppy sofa. Every now and again you'll come across just a derelict house and there'll just be a sofa on the lawn, on the front yard. A crosswalk signal, so this is where obviously the crosswalk used to be. Still is a crosswalk really, but there's a weed and a flower trying to grow through. Okay, fabulous. So, I'm going to move up onto this section here, our fancy area. I've marked spaces for where the houses will go, but I'm going to do some fun task of painting the entire floor of this upper area. So, be right back. Okay, fabulous. We have pretty much done that. I'm leaving this little space because I've got a little fancy design that I'm going to put down, but I'm going to wait until I've put down a few of the items, so I'm just going to run off to my storage shed, get that sorted. So while I was looking for various designs for this island, I ended up getting really distracted because I use Instagram mostly. Every now and again I'll go on Pinterest, but when I'm on Instagram I've been getting adverts and reels and things like that for places you should visit in Japan, or things you should do in Japan. And it's been a little while since I've actually been to Japan. I think it's about 7 years now since I last went, which to be honest is the longest time I've spent since the very first time I was actually in Japan, and the longest time since I haven't actually been there again. But yeah, it's really giving me a pang for wanting to go to Japan again, and so this probably isn't helping, but I've got a little folder in which I'm saving all of it for inspiration for trips. So if/when I eventually do get to go to Japan again, I'll be ready. I'll be able to look through all of these different real ideas, and yeah, I'll be good to go. I do like planning out my my vacations, my holidays. So things like that always help. And you may notice, if you did watch my previous entrance build, I'm using a lot of the medieval walls, the castle walls, the towers, just like I did previously. I still want it to have that same feel, even though it is obviously walled in. It's a lot less space being used, and I think the island just flows nicely because of it, because it's its own little separate area instead of you having to actually run through it to get to the airport or to get to the other side of the island. Technically speaking, you can completely miss this area, but I think it suits because Mira and Beardo want to be almost in this really fancy segregated area, away from the crime. They can pretend that the crime isn't happening, even though clearly it is. Okay, fabulous, that's all the walls down. I'm going to put down a bit of fencing at the front. I'll go with the stone iron fence because I think that naturally works well with the grey wall that I've chosen down at the bottom. And again, it's just one of the fancier looking fences we've got in the game. It's fancy and a little bit menacing because of the iron spikes as well, so it just stops any intruders potentially, we'll say. We have some curved streetlights. Just pull it forward a bit. Fantastic. I have tested this previously to make sure that the houses did fit without getting rid of any of the furniture, because the last thing I would want to do is create a design only to find out that it doesn't work. So that would kind of suck. Right, for this little space, we're going to use a design I mentioned previously. You can see some of the designs I've got ready, but we're using this little canal. So again, the creator code will be up on screen, and everything will be up in this. Everything will be in the description as well if you want to go check them out yourself or potentially use them. I thought doing this would be a clever way of including water without actually having to waterscape. Plus, it's just a really nice design. I mean, whoever does these kind of designs, you're just absolutely incredible. Some of these people, they just make the game so much better because of it. Right, this little space, we're going to put a couple of topiaries. Is that topiary? It is not. There we go. Fantastic. Going to add a little bit more fencing here. And we have a little lecture hall bench. There's no room. Of course there isn't. Cool, let's rotate that and push it into its rightful place. Cool, so this will be our fancy area that's nice and safe for the mayor, being Beardo, and the hero being Mira. I'll move the houses a bit later. As for now, I'm going to move down onto this space here. This big brown patch of dirt. And I wanted a construction site or something similar. So lots of tools, lots of various materials like the iron frame, the kind of steel girders, tyres, things like that. So let's jump on that and let's give us some materials. In fact, I've got a manhole cover. I'm quickly just going to put that down somewhere. There. There's as good a place as any. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this cliff construction, and I'm going to build just a small square here. Mostly a rectangle, to be honest, but there you go. Learn your shapes with Tofu. So the idea behind this is I'm then going to put down a few items, and if I can find it, there we go, the scaffolding. So I'm going to put down 2 items here that make it look like it's a building that's being worked on. Maybe it's been abandoned over time, but there was work on it previously. But firstly, I'm going to put down some pattern. So where am I going? Custom designs. You may have already noticed that I had some Tarp design. Again, creator code will be in the description, and I'll show the creator on screen. Hopefully I don't run out of spaces as far as design codes go, because I feel like I've already used a lot just in this essentially entrance build, but things like the rusty panel I can reuse. Obviously the road is going to be a massive part of it, so that'll take up a lot of the island space. But fabulous, we've got the scaffolding now to go down. I was initially looking for a green kind of tarp colour, but there just wasn't enough tiles. Whoever done it had done a decent job, and it just didn't really work for me. So now I'm going to put, where is it? Retro bus stop, or transportation stop even. Not that way, that's kind of silly. Okay, I love these retro transportation stops. They look absolutely amazing and really work well for making pretend buildings. Another one on this side, obviously. Is it going to be the right way? Of course it's not. Ugh. Okay, we're just going to grab our ladder and jump up onto the top here. Now, being a old, maybe abandoned building, I'm going to just make the roof, quote-unquote roof, all rusty tiles here. Fabulous. And I've got a little air conditioning unit somewhere in my inventory. There we go. Cool. So we have a little fake building that was being worked on, and the rest of the construction site, which I'm going to fence off now. There, that's the wrong fence. Cool. So hopefully you don't mind the fact that obviously I've got rid of my previous entrance. Like I said, I imagine this will flow a lot nicer. Hopefully you just prefer what I've done. We'll see in the final results. If you're new to the channel, I would really appreciate if you did give a like and maybe even subscribe as well. I'm really close to 400 subs, and it would just make my day if I did actually manage to get to that coveted 400. Seems like a small amount, but like I've said previously, you wouldn't want that many people in a room with you. Obviously that's quite a lot of people. So, nice amount of fencing there, so that will do. I'll put down a few items. So I have... there's no real order to this. There we go, a couple of safety barriers. Because whilst it's Crime Island, there was a intent to make things safe at some point. Never mind the fact that there's obviously missing tiles in the road and the pavement, but one step at a time. Okay, so I think we should have a tyre stack. A couple of the iron frames. Pretty sure that's what they're called, the steel girders. I'm not sure why they weren't called girders, but there you go. That's a question for the development team, I suppose. I'm going to put a single tyre up on this girder there. Pretty sure I've got a weed. There you go, single weed just in the middle, and another tyre stack somewhere. There we go. Oh, it's our mayor. How are we doing? Okay, you know what? I want a little bit greenery, so I'm going to just... I've got a sugar cane, so I'm going to just eat that. And I'll run off and grab a tree. Bear with me. So just ignore the fact that there's so many weeds and flowers. You didn't see any of this. Alright. Cool. Okay, we'll put down our tree. I've always wanted the, I guess, decaying urban setting, so I wanted nature to try and reclaim some of it. So maybe at the start of the the island, there's a lot more road, and then it starts just kind of becoming a lot more in tune with nature. Nature's taken over a lot more. Something like that. I would like another iron frame. I know it's somewhere. There we go. Fabulous. Put down a cement mixer. I know I've definitely seen it somewhere. And then a chainsaw. I mentioned how we, you know, got to be safe with the safety barriers, but then we just leave an open chainsaw just in here, just out ready to reach for anyone. There you go. I know there's a cardboard boxes, so maybe that's the delivery of tools. I haven't really used these building furniture items a lot, so I'm glad I get the chance to use them. Maybe I'll make another little construction area somewhere in the island. We'll see. It is a nice little transition kind of area anyway, so it works quite nicely for this. Big rock, that's obviously what they're using the jackhammer on. We're going to have a toolbox up on the scaffolding. Is that the way? Oh, it does open like that. Okay, nice. Like I said, if it's maybe been abandoned, we'll just drop a empty can there. Beardo's just walking in the way of where I wanted to put some stuff, but that's fine. He is the mayor. He runs this place, apparently. So he thinks, anyway. A little construction sign, I'll just put that there. Eventually I want to make just like a small kind of alleyway going this way that will connect to the road, but I'll do that later. Okay, nice. Just going to do a little bit on this beach here, in this beach corner. So I have a couple of oil barrels. So I mentioned about being distracted in regards to looking for design codes and things when I was on Instagram. I've also get highly distracted when I'm trying to research for my trivia shorts. Oh, please, Beardo. Why would you stand there? Come on. Speaking of distracted. Ugh. Anyway, in order to research a topic or two, I was looking at past controversies that were in Animal Crossing series, and yeah, some of them are just really kind of interesting. So I ended up watching a couple of videos from people just to find out. I've obviously gone on Wikipedia and the Animal Crossing fandom, and there's been a lot of controversies, to be honest. I am going to be talking about one or two, so I won't go into too much detail in regards to those ones. Another thing when it comes to Wild World was an item that Nintendo themselves actually distributed via a letter, and it would cause massive amounts of glitching and maybe even corrupt your save data, which is kind of insane. It's like one step away from being a creepypasta, to be honest. So yeah, the problem was caused by a letter that you would receive via the online, the Wi-Fi, kind of akin to the free gifts you get on Pokemon games. But it was just a blank letter and had a single item attached, which was red tulips. And they seemed like any other item. It was, you know, just a free item that Nintendo gave to you. However, if you went into your house and placed down the item, it went invisible. You couldn't then pick it up and put it back into your inventory. And it seemed to cause this, like, almost a wall. You couldn't place anything on that tile that you'd put the item on. And being really early on in the series, you only had limited space to be that creative. Like, your house was kind of that was it as far as the creative space. It's not like New Horizons where you've got the entirety of the island to mess around with. So a lot of players just couldn't fulfill the kind of vision that they wanted. So a lot of them had to restart the game. Some of them expressed that they actually had major corruptions and couldn't play the game at all. And that was just that. So yeah, it was very weird. A lot of people thought it was hackers that had actually done this, because there were reports of hackers going around in Wild World and later in New Leaf as well. But Nintendo actually had to release a statement saying that it wasn't hackers, it was a error with their computer system when they were uploading the free downloadable gifts and things like that. And yeah, not great. Obviously it was quite early on in the series, and so YouTube wasn't as big of a thing as it was, or it is now. So there's not a huge amount of documented evidence when it comes to the corruptions, but people definitely went onto forums to complain about the issues they had experienced. I want to change up one of those fields. I'm going to change that one. I think I've mentioned it before, but I love these wheat fields. They are one of my favourite items and one of the best additions to the game. Certainly when it comes to world building. It's kind of good that they work on a half tile, but again, at the same time, it's kind of a pain. They say don't go in the right place. Cool. So we've got a little abandoned car. I'm going to put a scooter here. That one hasn't been abandoned. There we go. I think this is starting to give the illusion that it's a bit of a rundown town. We've got our fancy area up there, obviously. I'm going to move the houses eventually. This space, I would like the shop to go, and so I'm going to just build this. And then, to be honest, I think that'll probably be it. I'll move the houses up here. I'll move the shop. Obviously design the area around the shop as well. And then we're probably good. So, bear with me, and I'll move some buildings. Okay, this is going to be Mira's house. Fantastic. Oh, does she want to move out? Oh, she does. Oh no, I want Tabby to go. Oh, go get some adventure. Oh. Okay, well that's a thing. I've got to be really careful when I'm moving these houses now. Bella and Tabby looking fabulous in their matching shirts. Oh, I can't believe that Tabby said she wanted to go, honestly. That's kind of good because I did want to replace her at some point, but it's very fitting that it's done in between a building video that's not in the right space. So this would be Beardo's house. There we go. Fantastic. And there's Mira's house there. I'm going to have to obviously put down the tiles around her house. I'll do that when Beardo is moved in so I can do it all at once. Okay, I'm going to skip forward another day so I can move the shop, and that will move Tabby into boxes. I'm saying this mostly out loud to myself so that I don't forget and immediately also fill the plot. So, see you in a second. We have a visitor at the campsite as well. Fabulous. Slightly different note. Tabby's leaving. She derailed my conversation that I was having. She's a controversy in her own right. Good job, Tabby. Oh, this island is nothing but chaos. You can see all my fences that I've rearranged in rows. Let's have a look and see who this campsite villager is, just out of curiosity. It's Diva. Oh, what a gorgeous girl. I'm sure my wife will be rather happy with that. Okay, I've got the shop so I can move that and carry on with my controversy talk, I guess. So, I don't know if anyone remembers, but early on in New Horizons, there was the Star Piece tree incident, which caused quite a kerfuffle. So, people had obviously hacked the trees that looked like they had the star pieces in them. And, to be honest, they were a really great item if you were doing any kind of like fairy core or enchanted build. They looked great, to be honest. I don't know why Nintendo didn't look at that and go, I'll take that idea. But there were some people on the Animal Crossing community that really, really didn't like that. They were claiming that it was cheating because obviously they got modded and hacked items in. And there was definitely a group that went around completely spamming the report button if anyone had these trees or mentioned these trees, to be honest. And so loads of people got banned from sharing their dreams online. Loads of people got banned from just going online in general on the Nintendo. Yeah, and it was a shame because, like I said, the item was really, really just nice. Right, I'm going to skip forward the next day and move the design just around the shop here. Okay, hard hats on, so I'm ready to design some flooring. Something similar to the Star Piece controversy that happened really on early in New Horizons was apparently there was protests from PETA. I didn't really see this, I didn't know it was a thing, but apparently, yeah, they made a big fuss of playing Animal Crossing and not catching bugs or fish, and playing as a vegan I think was the thing. But, you know, each to their own I suppose. But then they also did this weird stunt where they went into the museum and then started shouting how Blathers is a murderer and things like that, and that he should let go the animals, all the animals in the museum, which I find really strange because if they had actually filled the museum, it means one of them had to go through the entirety of the game, capture all the fish, the bugs, sea creatures, etc., depending on when this protest was done. So they had to actually play through. They had to contradict themselves by playing the game in the way that they're telling you not to play the game. It's just really strange. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Anyway, I had this rough idea to put down a load of this rusted tile down around the nook's cranny, and then I was just going to put various bits of items down. I've got a few bits of rusty fence, and yeah, I think I've got like a shopping trolley, shopping cart. You call them carts in America? I think so, but we call them shopping trolleys anyway. But yeah, things like that just to flesh out this part of the world. So, I've got a couple of fences, like I said. I did want it to look kind of rusty and a bit broken down, so that's what I've gone with. Matches the flooring. Oh, I didn't get that time placed very well, did I? But yeah, I do want to expand where the road is going in front of the nook's cranny. So I'm going to have it just going around here and then around this corner. So it's going around the nook's cranny, to be honest. But I'm going to do that off camera. That's a lot of building, a lot of me faffing around. So that's something that we could probably all just appreciate the fact that I don't do that. Put a little custom one. Can I squeeze by? I can. Okay, with our little Gaol-Town sign. Oh, Biff wants to bother me. Is there a reaction? Cool. It's very fitting when you run at me, Biff. You're going to scare anyone. You're a big guy. So I'm going to put a few more fences just behind the nook's cranny. Okay, cool. So we've got a little passage just there behind the nook's cranny. Everything looks pretty nice and rusty and, to be honest, horrible, but that's kind of the point of this island. So this is kind of my rough idea. I didn't have any idea as far as placements when it comes to items, so I'm just going to throw a few things down and just hope it looks good. So, cage cart. Cool. I love the small details, like when you push that around it actually sounds like you're pushing like a carted item around, or when you see like wheels roll in the garden wagons, things like that. It's just such a nice little touch when they do things like that. I'm going to put a cardboard bed down here. Does mean you can't skip by anymore, but that's fine. We'll put some trash bags down. Okay, so that's the that's their little bin area, I suppose. Scatter papers, again, more trash in the area in the corner. We should have a shopping cart. Where is it? There we go. So I guess this front part in the front corner is their delivery space. Can I rotate that? It's going to be on the path, but that's fine. So yeah, they've got their delivery space where they get all their boxes, their deliveries and things. You're going to have the top left corner is going to be their trash corner, which they're just throwing away various bits and bobs, like old boxes, obviously scattered papers which they haven't tidied up properly, trash bags. I'm going to have a couple of trolleys here. Like I said, I'm going to make the road go all the way through here and then around, but I'll do that off camera. And yeah, just a little bit more bits and bobs here. Okay, I might need to grab another trolley at some point, but to be honest, I was thinking something like that. So guys, I guess I'm going to call today's episode here. Thank you very much if you watched this far into the video. If you enjoyed what I did, please hit like and consider subscribing as well if you haven't done already. I guess, as you've seen, obviously Tabby wants to move out, so I guess our next video will be a villager hunt. So, look forward to that. I'm going to be hunting for more criminals for this island. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.